everyone, welcome back to my channel. Long time I didn't make any video. I hope everything is right for you, even with what is happening in the world. So in this new small series, we're gonna learn a bit more about Golang. Finally, I just feel like we don't have a lot of video about Golang on YouTube, and I just feel like this is something we should add a bit more, so that's gonna help people who just came to the language to learn a bit more about that. So I want to create like small little projects. So for the project number 1, that's gonna be the main topic we're gonna learn. So we're gonna learn about Go routine. I think it's pretty that's one of the things why you want to jump on Golang, because it's those Go routine are really awesome to work with. You're gonna see that all the concurrency and everything like that. After that, we're gonna learn also how to write to files. So gonna see why in a moment. After that, we're gonna fetch, oops, I say date, but it's data from an external, so external API. For this project, we're gonna use the NHL API. So I'm Canadian, as you know, I'm coming from Quebec, and here hockey is pretty big. So I was searching for an API to use. Everyone use like Star Wars, Pokemon, and all this kind of stuff. And I just feel like nobody used the NHL. That's going to be just something new for everyone. But this thing came with challenge. And that's what we're going to learn there. We're going to learn waitgroup, and we're going to learn about channels. And by challenge, what I mean is, in the NHL, we have like 32, if I remember, 32 team right now. And we want to fetch the stat from each user of, finally, their roster. So what that means is we need to do one API call to receive all the teams. After that, we're gonna need to do 32 API call to receive all the roster of each of the teams. So here we're gonna have all of the user. And after that, we're gonna maybe stop there at this moment, but what we can also do is fetch the stat, example, the point, the number of goal, assists of this player and stuff like that. So this is what we're gonna learn today. So for this one, I'm gonna just show you how that's gonna look like. So if I'm running the command, it's gonna be pretty simple. So we're gonna receive all the data of everything, and that's gonna create a file called roster.txt, where we're gonna put finally all the player of the NHL together. So you see, example, we have one player, Paul Byron, his position, his jersey, and stuff like that. And we're gonna have like the ID and things like that. I don't know why Paul Byron don't have an ID. I don't know. It looks like it's the only one. So you see, this file, it's pretty big because we have a lot of player, and you see 51,000 line. And so we did like 32 API call, all that in 926 milliseconds. So I think it's pretty nice. That's the beauty of the concurrency versus doing 32 API one by one. You do 32 one shot all together. So this is what we're gonna learn. So for that, we're gonna use the stat API web.nhl.com API v1, and we're gonna use also this tool called JSON to go. Both links gonna be on the description. So this awesome little application here, it's really nice. It's just, we can do this right now. It's just, I'm gonna copy all that there. Now the JSON is not good, so I'm gonna just remove that. And now you see they just finally construct the struct you need from this JSON. So you don't need to do this all by yourself, because it's gonna be quite painful. So for starting this project, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click here on new project. I'm gonna use Go module. If you don't use Golang, you're gonna need to run a Go mod init, but in my case I have it, so I'm gonna call that like a YouTube, if I can type, YouTube NHL project, like that. After that, I make sure I'm gonna use 1.14 the version of Golang. I think is the last one right now. So I'm gonna click create. So if you use VS Code, you need to, inside your terminal, you're gonna need to run go mod init and the name of your project. In my case, because I'm using Golang, they create a file for me and they create with the module. So we're gonna start right there. So in this first part, it's gonna be a pretty simple one. The only thing we want is to fetch the API. The only API I show you there, it's the theme one. So as any kind of Go package, we're gonna start with main.go. For this project, I don't want to confuse people and having like common folder, packages folder and stuff like that. I just want to make it simple. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a directory called NHL API. So that's gonna be finally where we're gonna get the stuff from the NHL, everything like that. And I'm gonna create a file here called NHL API. So this package here, this file, gonna have one simple thing, and that's gonna be a constant where we're gonna put the base URL. So if you have followed my other Golang tutorial, I like to have my kind of index.js file as the same name as the packages. So I know it's kind of like where everything's starting. And I'm gonna start with a const where I'm gonna call that base URL. And this base URL gonna match this thing right there, where I have stats API web NHL v1, and that need to be inside quotes. Like that. So now I can use it all around my NHL API. But the thing is, I'm gonna change it like that. I'm gonna say base URL like that, just because I don't want that to be exportable. Because remember, in Go, if something starts with uppercase, that's gonna be exportable. So here I'm gonna create another file called themes. So here that's gonna be where we're gonna manage the theme of the NHL API. So it's gonna be where finally we're gonna handle the struct, and this is where we're gonna handle a lot of the thing. So here, what I want to do is I'm gonna just copy to clickbar everything, and I'm gonna jump back there and I'm gonna paste that. Okay. Here we have some stuff I don't really care. You see, they have a lot of copy. So the beauty of this app is make it simple, but one of the thing is I have some error sometimes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete the copyright. We don't care about that. I'm gonna also change the type here to be theme, and I don't care about the themes here. So I'm gonna make sure I delete the struct, and I need to delete the end of the struct at the bottom, like that. After that, here what I want to do, as you can see, we have a lot of copy. Okay, you see venue is there, but also is there, etc. So what I want is just delete everything from venue here to the bottom, right there. And now, perfect. So a theme, you're gonna have his ID, it's gonna be an in, a name, a link, and everything. The venue, it's finally where is everything is going on with this theme. So example, which city, and the name of the city, the time zone, because some of the team are in the Eastern time, but some of the team are in the California and stuff like that time, Pacific, I think. So you see, we have a lot of the thing. So the beauty of all this little application, the JSON to Go, it's we don't need to care about like naming all the stuff. They just plug that all for us. So what I'm gonna write after that, it's here. I'm gonna create a type where I'm gonna call NHL themes response. It's gonna be a struct. So this thing finally, just because I don't care about the copyright and stuff like that, and I'm gonna just finally make it like we're gonna receive a slice of theme, and that's gonna be a JSON equal to theme. So finally, it just so the struct is gonna be everything, but we just care about the themes. Okay. The reason why I make this one theme like that is because we're gonna maybe use it in the main, so that's kind of why. After that, here we're gonna create a simple func, and this one is gonna be an exportable function where we're gonna receive all the themes. And the plan here is to return a slice of a theme or an error. So the way you work with an API request, third-party API request and stuff like that in Golang is you use the HTTP package. And inside the HTTP package, you have the GET request. So, for example, if you came from Node and stuff like that, a lot of the time you're gonna use something like request or fetch or something like that, Node fetch, something like that, just to be able to get stuff from the internet and things like that. But in Go, it's built in. And so inside the HTTP GET, we want to create a string, so printf, where here we're gonna receive a string and we're gonna append at the end a theme. And the string we pass to the printf is gonna be the base URL. So now if I'm making like that, you see it's the base URL and the theme. So I just do command minus, so this format for me like that. After that here, if we have an error, I want to return nil, and the error. If I don't forget the comma. After that, when you use the HTTP GET and you want after that to kind of decode the response, you want also to make sure then you're gonna defer. So that means at the end of this function, so when this function is finishing, we make sure then we close the body. And the reason why I put a defer there and not before the error, it's because you don't need to you don't want to defer if you have an error, so you handle the error first. After that here, I'm gonna create a var called response, and that's gonna be equal to the NHL team response, so equal to this struct. Here after that, I'm gonna receive maybe an error from the JSON, so the JSON package, new decoder. So the JSON new decoder just need to receive an IO router, and the IO router, it's the rest.body. The reason why is because the new decoder here need the IO router interface. The IO router interface, the router interface, sorry, just need to have a function called read. We receive a slice of bytes and return an int and an error. And the beauty of this rest.body, it's they have the function we need for that. So after that, here we can ask after that to decode, and we're gonna decode that to the response we have created right there. So we want to inject that to the response right there. After that, we're gonna make sure that if we have an error, we're gonna return nil and the error. And finally here at the end, we're gonna just return. So if everything is right, we can get from the response. The only thing we care is the themes, because we want to return here the size of theme, and nil if we have no error. Like that. You can have just return error like that. I think it's okay also. So you can do this like that. Now, so for this part, for this first part, the only thing I want to do is just do a simple fetch API. So we're gonna just make use of this function inside the main. So what we're gonna do, it's we're gonna one sec. We're gonna create a function here called main, because that's gonna be the main function where we can finally run our command. Now, I'm gonna just create a time that now finding the date, and this thing is gonna only be used to help benchmarking the request time. So the reason why I want to do this, it's because at the end of this function, I'm gonna log printf. So I'm gonna print here the amount of time that took, and the reason why it's for myself. I like to see how much time this function gonna take, and the easiest way of doing this, I feel, it just you save the time before the function is running, and at the end you take the time of right now, so the end time, and you sub the time when it start. So example, you start at 3:10 and you end at 3:11. You know, then you have 1 minute more. And we just want that to get this back as a string, so it's gonna looks like a bit more human. After that, here I want to create to open a file, and the way you work with that in Go is you use the OS and you call open file, and the name of the file I want to call it's gonna be roster.txt. So we just want to have a text file, that's it. And inside this one, what I want to do, so this thing is pretty complicated. So just because open file here need to receive like the flag, you want to pass it, okay? And so the flag we want to get ORW error. Sorry if I don't know everything here. It just yeah, it's kind of like a copy and paste of the Stack Overflow, this line of code right there. So I mean, it looks like you want to create, to read the file, create, and to be able also to append element to it. And for the you need to pass like the file mode, like how you gonna, like the permission of the user and stuff like that. And the way we work with that here, it's a 0666. So here, if we have an error, at this moment we want to fatal, like I mean, I want to crash, like to stop, terminate the program right there. So error with error opening the file roster.txt, and I'm gonna say the error, it's gonna be this thing right there. After that here, like we did in the other one, we just want to make sure that we close the file at the end of this function. After that here, I want to create a router, and this router is going to be a IO multi-router. Because here I just want to pass multiple router, like you can have like IO router, yeah, or multi-router where you just pass finally, you see, you can pass like, I don't know how you say that in English, I think it's the variadic, something like that, where you can just kind of spread like the amount of what you want. So what I mean, it's here I can pass 20,000 router if I want, or just one. So here, in my case, I want the OS stayed out, and I want the raster file. After that here, I'm gonna make sure then my log, I'm gonna output what I'm gonna use. Every time I'm gonna use the log, that's gonna write that to the set output who here came to the multi-router. So now here is the place where we're gonna receive the theme. So we have the theme or an error, and this is from the NHL. Don't know why I don't have my autocomplete. Get all theme. Alright, I don't know why it took a bit more time. So now here, if we have an error, again we're gonna log fatal F, and we're gonna say error while getting all themes, and I'm gonna want to print this error. And finally here, we're gonna range, we're gonna range over each of the theme we just received. And now here, we're gonna just want to print some of the stuff here. So I'm gonna just make like some of this line like that, just to make it simpler to see. And just to see if everything is running, we're gonna be able to print the theme name. So a theme have a name, and this is a type of string. So now it's time to see if everything is working. So I'm gonna run my program, and you see it work. So we get here all the themes, and it took 628 milliseconds. So here, if you look at that, we have like 93 line, And if you divide that by like 3, because it's 3 lines for each, so this is the amount. But you see, like sometime you, but yeah, so you see you have all the theme. So it's gonna look a bit better if I at least put that like that. I'm gonna rerun. So now my roster right there. Oh, you know what? You're gonna add that at the end. You see? So now that's gonna be the issue we're gonna start to fix in the next part. It's because now what is happening, I'm appending at the end of this file every time. So what I mean by that, it's if I delete everything and I run it, now I get all the new stuff and it's gonna stop at 94 line of code. But if I rerun it again, look what's gonna happen. We append that at the end, so we get the double of that. So this is gonna be something we want to fix. But yeah, so what we've learned in this little part was to work with file. Pretty simple. If you want more information about that, those 2 parts here, I can give you more in the next video. Just I don't remember in my head, but I remember to have read about that. After that, we did learn about how to get stuff from an external API. It was pretty simple. That's the beauty of Go. It's everything. It's kind of simple. So we are able to get the theme from this API URL. And we did make sure then we decode this information to a response track. And we did return this theme. Inside the main, we just get this theme. We look over each of the theme. We just print some of the stuff. And the beauty of that, it's now we are able to see that in the log, because remember what we say, it's if I need the router, make sure that we see the stuff outside, so the terminal plus the roster file. So each time you log, because of this line, each time you log to the terminal, so it's the DAO, and you log also to the roster file who is there. So yeah. So it's gonna be that for the part 1. I'm gonna put the code on GitHub and the GitHub link in the description. I hope you enjoy. If you have any question, stuff like that, comment. Please make it like you can put that below. Also make sure you subscribe if you didn't, and please add a like. It's gonna really help me to get motivated. So have a good day, everyone. Bye.